Hey guys, so today we're going to be revisiting the Goruck GR2, which is one of the travel bags that I've had for the longest amount of time. I've used this a bunch over the past couple of years, and I've actually featured it in a video before where I compared it to the Air Travel Pack, but a lot has happened since then. Air has released the Travel Pack 2, there's been a lot of great travel bags released from other companies, and in addition to that, Goruck has seen some price hikes to their bags, and they've even released a smaller version of the GR2. So lots of changes, and I realized I never actually did an in-depth solo review of the GR2, so I wanted to take this time to talk a little bit about how the GR2 holds up against some of these newer travel bags that have been coming out. In addition to a walkthrough of the features and discussing how it has worked as a travel bag over a number of trips, I did also want to talk a little bit more in depth about how this feels for use as a daily bag. So I'm really excited to have a chance to step back and revisit this bag with you guys, so let's just jump in and take a closer look again at the Goruck GR2. So starting out with the overall look of the bag, this is an area where Goruck really has me. I mean, since I first saw both this and the GR1, I kind of immediately fell in love with the minimalistic styling and the military look that it has. And honestly, this is one of the biggest reasons why I'm willing to pay the premiums that Goruck asks for on their products. On top of the fact that they're very well made, I just really like the overall looks. They originally designed it to fit in both Baghdad and New York, in boardrooms or for traveling. And so I feel like they really accomplished that with the look that they have for their line of bags. I really like the minimal Molle Webbing, including on the outside, which provides some great functionality, but in general, I just really like the look that it gives the bag without being too overpowering. And I like how slim the silhouette of the bags are. So regardless of whether you're looking at the GR1 or the GR2, the bags, even though they hold a lot, they tend to look very slim. They tend to hug your back a lot, and that seems to be by design, as these are meant to hold a lot of weight. While we're talking about capacity, I will clarify again, this is the 34 liter of the bag, which is kind of the mid-size level. They've actually released a smaller version in the past year, which is a 26 liter, and they also have a larger 40 liter of the bag, which, given my size and the experience with the capacity of this bag, I feel like that would be a little bit of overkill for me. I probably don't need that much space. But for the most part, this seems to hit the sweet spot. As far as the capacity, 34 liters is right in that size that I typically like to travel with. I can easily go for 2 weeks, and it's gonna be very carry-on compliant. I've had no issues carrying this on any flights, and I feel like it would be a great size for both domestic and international airlines. One area that might get you in a bit of hot water on international airlines is just the weight of this bag. This bag can come in weighing between 4 and 5 pounds depending on the size that you have. So that is a lot of weight to just have on the bag on its own. And so because of the size, I've never had issues with bags like these getting weighed. I typically just have them on my back and I walk into a plane. But if you are very concerned about weight when you're traveling with one bag, that is one thing to keep in mind about this. As far as the materials used on the bag, they have an extremely durable feeling 1000D Cordura, nice YKK zippers all around. They seem to offer a fair amount of water resistance. The Cordura material offered on the bag does provide a fair amount of water resistance. They say the bag is rainproof. If you submerge it or anything like that, obviously water will likely get in, but as far as just getting through rain while walking around, I haven't had any issues, thankfully. And so on the outside of the bag, there's no visible branding. They just have their signature morale patch area here, which I have a bunch of morale patches that I've bought since I've gotten into Goruck. I have a Punisher patch here, I have one for Deadpool, and I'd like to get some customized as well. So I've always liked this little touch that the Goruck products have, so that you can kind of just customize the look a little bit. So continuing on with the outside, Goruck has a really nice, well padded and reinforced handle here at the top. This is one of the sturdiest feeling handles that I've seen on any bag. And so moving on to the straps and the back paneling, this is an area where I've had a little bit of a love-hate relationship with my Goruck bags. I think the straps are very well padded. I love the width of them. Look how wide they are. They're definitely meant to hold a lot of weight on your back as you're walking around. The straps don't have any sort of mesh lining on the inside, so I have noticed a tendency for moisture to build up, but they're just super thick, as you can see here, and that's both a good and a bad thing. One thing about these straps that I've noticed is that they just take forever to break in. So even though they haven't been uncomfortable, they're much stiffer than a lot of the straps that I typically like to use. It definitely feels like they're gonna continue to hold up well pretty much forever, but I wish that they were a little bit softer. I talked to Goruck about this and how I could possibly break them in a little bit easier. They recommended maybe submerging it in water and just doing some more kind of heavier rucking activities. So even though they're a little bit stiffer than I would like, they've still been comfortable, very thick. They don't include a sternum strap, but they do sell one that you can add here with the webbing, which is nice if you want a little bit of extra support when you're carrying some weight. Moving on to the back paneling, this has been really comfortable as well. I like the elevation and air channels provided on the bag, so there's a nice amount of padding offered here. Similar to my complaint with the shoulder straps, I wish that a little bit of mesh or something had been included here to provide some additional airflow. Even with these air channels, the bag does tend to get a little bit moist when I'm wearing it with a lot of weight. Some have mentioned that this is due to the fact that the Goruck bags are meant to be used in kind of rougher environments, so a lot of the Goruck challenges have you going through mud and throwing this into water, so it could be a little bit more difficult to clean a meshier material. But I haven't really done any Goruck events and I don't put my bag through that type of abuse, so for me it would be a little bit nicer if they had some of the elevation or mesh that you see on something like the Tortuga backpacks. The next thing I want to talk about is the laptop compartment. So this is something Goruck bags have always done very well. They have a nice 3/4 opening zipper here, really good YKK as we talked about earlier. The zipper's a little bit more exposed than I would like to see for a laptop pocket, so I wish it had a little bit of a flap like the other pockets on the bag, but still offering a good amount of protection. It's nice and spacious, very easy to get into the bag. I like this opening as it makes it very easy to just reach down and grab your bag, especially as you're going to the airport or something like that, and there's plenty of space here. So currently what I have is my 13-inch MacBook Pro, but you can see that you could easily fit a 15-inch laptop in here. And the compartment itself offers a good amount of padding. There's a nice solid frame sheet on the back, which you can remove. There's a little Velcro panel here, so you can pull that out if you don't want it. And so just looking into the compartment, there's no sort of felt lining or anything like that on the inside, but one thing that has always been a huge benefit of the laptop compartments on Goruck bags is that there is a false bottom, which keeps the laptop elevated from the ground, so when you put it down, the laptop is going to be very well protected. And the laptop compartment on the Goruck bags have always served kind of a dual purpose. Another purpose for these is to hold some of their ruck plates. So they do sell flat metal plates that you can put into these compartments to weigh the bag down, so that if you're training, if you're doing one of the Goruck challenges, or if you just like to walk around with a little weight on your back to burn some extra calories, this is going to be a good area to put those, keep them close to your back. It's unfortunate that there's no softer lining on the inside to keep the laptop a little more protected from scratching, but because of the dual use for the Goruck plates, I can kind of understand why they chose not to include that, as that would likely either tear or get very dirty during the Goruck challenges. And so next up, I want to talk about some of the organizational options offered on the bag. And the best place to start with that is with the Molle Webbing that's on the outside and on the inside of the bag. So as I mentioned a little bit earlier, I primarily like this because of the style that it gives the bag, but it's also actually very practical. So currently what I have here on the outside is just my Hero Clip carabiner, which I like to take with me to keep my bags elevated off the ground, but I've used this to clip on shoes and other equipment. And then a big benefit of the Molle Webbing is that it allows you to customize how you kind of set up your bag quite a bit. So there's tons of different accessories that are sold both by Goruck and on Amazon that allow you to kind of attach different sorts of pouches to both the sides and front of the bag. So for example, you'll notice that the Goruck bags don't come with any sort of external water bottle compartment. And so if you're like me and you like that sort of compartment, I bought this attachable Molle water bottle compartment. It easily attaches to the side of the bag, and I can carry my water bottle with me whenever I want. I switched this out between my GR1 and the GR2. Another great pouch that I've experimented with and shown in the past is this simple pouch from Orca Tactical. It's just kind of a nice alternative to the field pouches that Goruck sells. Those are really great and rugged, but they're about $70 to $80, so they're a little bit pricier. This right here is about $15. It has some webbing on the inside, and I've used this to either attach on the outside for quick access to smaller accessories. I've used this to organize the main area of the Goruck, as we'll see in a little bit. And I've even used this just as a simple adopt kit sometimes when I wanted to just have everything attached by Molle. So nice to see the amount of alternatives that are available if you don't want to purchase Goruck's field pouches. And so jumping into the pockets on the front, there's just a very simple slanted zippered compartment here. This compartment has gotten a lot of hate in different videos just because it's so slim. So when you have the bag really filled up in the other compartments, it can be a little bit difficult to use this. Currently, as you see here, I still have a fair amount of space, and what I love using this compartment with is Goruck's own wire dop accessory. This manages to hold most of my dongles and chargers and smaller accessories, and as you can see, it fits in there pretty easily. But if you don't want to use the wire dop, you still have some space here to throw in something like a notebook or a magazine, maybe your boarding passes. This is also a place where I've tossed in my watch and my wallet and different things that I have to take off while I'm going through airport security. So a very simple compartment, no internal organization or anything like that. And so the way this bag is laid out, it has two kind of main areas. So one is the big main compartment where you would put all of your kind of travel items, and then there's another organizational area on the front that's also pretty big. And so one of my favorite things about this bag is that both compartments open up fully clamshell, so you can easily use the full length of the compartment. So opening that up here, you can see I can open it nice and flat. You can get a good view into this main area here. So I like that there's a fair amount of volume in this bottom area of the compartment, so it holds some of my bulkier items. Here you can see I have my Beats Solo Wireless 2, and then I also have my DOP kit of choice, the Air Travel Kit. And so besides the space offered here in this area, there's also a nice mesh compartment that could almost work as a packing cube, or if you want to hold something like a jacket or smaller clothing items, this might be a good area to stick that. Currently I just have my Amazon Kindle in here, just floating around a bit. I typically don't use this compartment all that much, as I prefer to use this space here to hold either items like my DOP kit, or even if I need to put an extra pair of shoes, this is gonna be a really good spot to keep that because of the extra volume that's here. Up here at the top, there's a nice voluminous pocket here that is great for holding some bulkier items. So opening this up, this very much resembles the design of Goruck's detachable field pouches, the Molle attachments that they sell on their site. And so this offers a great amount of space. It's just a large, simple compartment. You can see how big this kind of comes out here, how much volume it provides, which makes it very useful. Currently what I have in here is just my Able Carry stash pouch, just to show just how much this compartment can hold. This holds some of my smaller accessories that I typically don't want floating around. Then besides that, I just have my Apple Magic Mouse in here. And then it's really nice, in addition to the open space and volume that this provides, that there's a little bit of internal organization on the inside. There's just these elastic mesh compartments that are very useful to keeping items in their place, so you can easily see what's in each compartment because of the mesh. So here there's a larger one where I currently have my BluePot portable Bluetooth speaker and power bank. And then in the other area here, there's a smaller compartment, which I probably could have used to hold the mouse. Currently what I have in here is just a little mini flashlight that I like to carry with me while I'm traveling. So just a great amount of space here. Love the simplicity of the compartment. This is also, because it's near the top, it's very easy to just reach down and throw items in there or grab something. If I'm going through airport security, sometimes I'll throw my stuff in here as well. On the flap, there's some great additional organizational options offered here. So the first thing I'll call out is just this larger mesh compartment, very similar to the one on the other side of the bag. And so I really like the side orientation of these zippers here, so that if you're opening the bag on one side, you can reach in and grab whatever you need to from this compartment. So very reminiscent of how the pockets are laid out on the Evergood CPL 24. And so this compartment also offering a good amount of volume. Great spot for putting something like your tech accessories, if you have your laptop charger or some headphones you want to throw in there, or even some gloves or a hat. Lots of versatility. We can see how much that compartment comes out here. One thing to note is, even though this compartment offers a fair amount of volume, it does share space with this side of the bag. So because I had some bulkier items just kind of laying here, I'm not able to put as much bulkier items in here. So what I currently have is just my Field Notes notebook, so that I can get to that quickly. Then the last compartment here on the flap is just another quick access compartment that sits near the top. This is one of the compartments that I use the most, as it's just very easy to reach down and get to while I'm using the bag on my day-to-day. So this one also offers a good amount of space, very similar to the compartment found on the inside of the Goruck GR1. And so currently what I have in here is just my sunglasses with their case, and then a lightning cable to charge my phone. So no sort of felt lining or internal organization on the inside here, but I love how simple it is and the amount of space that it offers. On the inside of the flap, you can also see the only branding that the bag has, the GR2 and the Goruck logo, and the fact that it's built in the USA. So I love the simplicity and the fact that this is just contained inside of the bag. So next up, I want to talk about the main compartment. Like this area that we just looked at here, it opens up completely flat, which is a huge plus for any travel bag. So opening up the nice YKK zippers again, we can get into this main area here. I'll open that nice and flat so you can easily see everything that's on the inside. This area here is just kind of a big bucket of space where you can organize everything that you typically want to travel with. So this works very well for my packing style with the packing cubes. And so just diving into the items that I have here, the first item is a small packing cube that has my socks and underwear and smaller clothing items. Next up, I have a few pairs of shoes. First off, I have my Toms, and then just a flat pair of Converse type shoes, my Penguin Chillers. And then the last item I have here is my larger double-sided packing cube with my jeans and dress shirts and larger clothing items. And so now with the compartment a little bit more empty, you can get a feel for how much space is offered. Obviously, this is going to be a little bit larger in the 40-liter version of the bag and a little bit shorter in the 26-liter, but essentially they'll all have the same kind of bucket style layout, which I absolutely love how much versatility it gives me and how I can organize my stuff. It's very simple. On the inside, they do have a nice sleeve here that has some elastic bands, so you can use it for holding something like a tablet or a notebook if you're using this for day-to-day. As you saw, I left it empty because I just want to lay everything down in this main area. Another benefit of this compartment here is that you can either place a water bladder in here. There's a little pass-through for a hose at the top, or you can also use this to hold ruck plates like the ones that Goruck sells. If you want to use this for rucking, this is a good spot to place them so that they're not just sliding around the bag. And then in addition to the sleeve here, another benefit that the bag has is a few rows of Molle Webbing on the inside as well. So if you're not using this for travel necessarily, this is going to be a great area to attach some of the Goruck field pouches or the Molle accessories that we looked at earlier. So you can attach this here at the top. If you want to make a little bit more division between your items in the main area, you can have some larger items at the bottom and then attach something like this to the top so that you can easily just grab things as you're walking around. So love the versatility offered by the Molle Webbing here and the ability to attach different pouches and accessories. I've also seen people use carabiners here to attach something like a water bottle if you don't want to keep it on the outside. That will at least keep it stable, or even for just holding things like multi-tools and flashlights. Continuing on with the flap of the main area, it's great to see that there's some additional organizational options provided here as well. And so there's two mesh compartments, very similar to the ones that we saw in the front organizational area. Same side-oriented zipper, which I really like, and a nice amount of volume in here as well. So a great area for putting your underwear and your socks if you're not using packing cubes, or maybe like a light jacket. And then the last compartment is just another kind of quick access area that's oriented near the top of the bag. So if you have the zippers near the top, this is a great area to just reach down and grab smaller things that you need to get to quickly during the day. I don't have much in here currently. I just have my Gerber dime with a carabiner. I typically wouldn't travel with the Gerber dime because it does have a knife, but I might put something like my Gerber shard in here, or even just some chargers for my phone or other tech accessories. If I didn't have the wire dop, this would be a good spot to place some of that. So I love the simplicity and volume offered by these compartments, and that they just lay pretty flat if you choose, like me, not to use them. And so one question that I've gotten a lot about the GR2 is how well it works for day-to-day use. And so even though the bag is going to be pretty empty for most people's daily carry, you know, if you carry a few notebooks in here and a laptop and some chargers, maybe some gym clothes, this is going to be a little bit overkill. You're going to have stuff probably floating around. But because of the organizational compartments and the fairly slim silhouette of the bag, I still think it's pretty usable, especially if you're taller. This is going to look pretty much like a normal bag. As it starts to break in, it really doesn't look very bulky. This has worked well for me in the past. As I mentioned, I have traveled with this bag for business travel, and I've been able to just take my stuff out, pack my essentials for a meeting or something, and easily walk around with it. It doesn't feel too out of place. It doesn't look too bulky. And even though it's not an ideal daily carry bag, I still think it's going to work well if you just want to try to travel with one and you need that balance of enough space to travel for a few weeks, but not being too big to be able to carry with you. And so to wrap up, after using this for a longer period of time, I still feel like this is one of the best travel bag options that you can get on the market right now. It's going to hold up really well. It has a lot of great organizational features, and it just has a really clean, minimalistic look that still holds up great to a lot of the newer bags that have been released. And so one of the biggest sticking points with this bag is, of course, the price. And in the past couple of months, Goruck has undergone a price hike, so the bags all went up about $100, moving this from $395 to about $495. They'll still have the occasional sale where you can pick this back up at that $395 price point. So that is a bit of an investment, but if you want one of the most solidly built bags that you can find and something that's going to give you a lot of peace of mind if you're traveling for longer term, this is going to be a great option to check out. But there are a lot of great bags and much lower price points that are worth taking a look at, and that should also hold up very well. And so some of the bags that aren't going to be quite as expensive as this one, but that still have a really high quality, they've held up well as I've been using them, and they might be good to take a look at, would include bags like the Air Travel Pack 2. In the original video that we did for the GR2, we compared it with the original Air Travel Pack. And so far the Travel Pack 2 has held up very well. I haven't noticed any issues with the bag whatsoever. It's been comfortable to hold, and that bag comes in at about $230. So almost half the price of this bag. Another option I would recommend checking out would be something like the Tortuga Set Out Divide, which has been a really fantastic kind of all-around travel bag that compresses down for daily use. That one I've traveled with on a bunch of different trips as well. It's one of the bags that I would say is as comparable to this as far as comfort for carrying a lot of weight. That bag has some really beefy shoulder straps, great back padding, and also a really nice waist strap. So if you have a lot of stuff to carry, that's going to be a good option to check out. That bag comes in at under $200, about $180. I don't feel like it has quite the same build quality that this bag has, and it doesn't feel like it will hold up as well to rain or something like that. But if you're looking for just a really solid, comfortable bag that's going to be able to hold a lot of stuff and has a nice minimalistic look, the Tortuga Set-Out Divide will definitely be a good option to consider. Another great option that has come out more recently is something like the Topo Designs travel bag. Those are some really solid, stylish, more heritage-looking bags that have a little bit more of a technical feel. So if you like this minimalistic kind of military style that the Goruck GR2 has, the Topo travel bag has something that I wouldn't say looks similar, but seems to come from the same DNA, just more kind of adventurous and outdoorsy. And I've really enjoyed using the 30-liter travel bag over a variety of trips. The bag has held up well. Of course, it doesn't have quite the same build quality as something like this, but it does come in at a much more affordable price point. Like the Set-Out Divide, it's about $190. Another great alternative, if you like the tactical look that this bag has, would be something like the Jack Wolfskin TRT 32. That was a great travel bag that we looked at a while back. It had a lot of space and compartments and organization, some nice Molle Webbing all along the front. And at $130 to $150, I've seen the price fluctuate a bit. That bag is really solidly built and definitely has this type of style. So if you're looking for something a lot more affordable that still has this sort of DNA, I definitely recommend checking that one out as well. And although it's not a travel bag per se, if you want to compare this to another bag in this price range, we recently looked at the Nutsack Rucksack, which is a fantastic daily bag that is also made in the USA, and it has a really solid build quality. It comes in at about $370, so very close to the price range that you'll see on these Goruck bags. And so with all that being said, after using the GR2 over many different trips, it continues to hold up really well. It's one of my go-to bags. I absolutely love the style. I'll always be a big fan of the Goruck look. And even though the price increase and the availability of other great bags at a much lower price point is going to make this a rough sell for some people, if you're looking for just a really great bag that's going to be with you for many years to come, I still definitely recommend checking out the Goruck GR2. If you guys like this style of video and you'd like to see me revisit other bags, please let me know in the comments below. And if you found this video useful, please give us a like. And if you haven't already, please go ahead and subscribe so you don't miss any upcoming videos. And thank you guys so much.